Natural Habitat Adventures is pleased to be bringing you this webinar today, Sailing the Antarctic Wilderness. And we're here today with our Chief Exploration Officer, Olaf Malver. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about him. He is an explorer extraordinaire, and his enthusiasm for investigating the planet's most remote and dramatic destinations is second to none. Driven by a passion for the history of the world's greatest explorers, Olaf is deeply committed to opening remaining frontiers to like-minded travelers. He speaks 6 languages, has a PhD in chemistry and a master's in international law and diplomacy, and is a former science educator at University of California, San Francisco. Olaf has been an adventure travel guide for more than 30 years, leading kayak trips on all 7 seas and hikes and treks worldwide. He has pioneered numerous paddling routes on groundbreaking expeditions, particularly in Greenland, where he's been 38 times. He's traveled cross-country by dog sled and hiked in more than 80 countries over 35 years. Olaf is a fellow of the exclusive Explorers Club, an honor bestowed on a handful of the world's premier adventurers. And now, as CEO, Chief Exploration Officer, as you see there, Olaf ensures that we maintain the same spirit of true adventure that has driven all the great explorers for centuries. So Olaf, over to you.
Well, Lee, thank you very much for that kind introduction, and I am very happy to have an audience with me today to listen to perhaps an account of one of the best expeditions and trips that I think Natural Habitat can offer in the world of going down to a place and seeing some amazing wildlife. Yes, I have done a lot of traveling, and this particular trip we're going to hear about today is called Sailing in Antarctica, the Ultimate Polar Nature Expedition. And my travels has brought me to Antarctica at least 7 times, and I can tell you one thing: every time I come back from Antarctica, it doesn't last long before I want to go again. So for those who have not yet been down there, you are in for a huge treat. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to tell you about the logistics of this amazing trip, Sailing Antarctica. I'm going to tell you about some of the nuts and bolts of the trip, and I'm going to give you an impression of what you will see down there, how we do the trip, what kind of wildlife you will encounter, and also describe for you what is the preparations you need to take in order to get the most out of an adventure like this. As you know, Antarctica is, or maybe you don't know, but Antarctica is one of the last places on Earth where there is no, what shall I say, permanent human habitation. And that is because Antarctica actually it's not a country, it's more like a treaty among nations. You can see here on this map here of Antarctica proper that Antarctica has been divided up into several sections. One is British, Australian, French, New Zealand, etc., and there are overlapping claims to Antarctica. But the treaty says that this place is for human mankind, it is for conservation, and it's not for exploration of natural resources, and it's not the place where you can conduct war. It's a treaty, and that has given this area a very special place in places to go to, because there is an amazing amount of wildlife that is still undisturbed because of this treaty, and the only people who can go in there is a tourist that can come and visit the whole of Antarctica coastline and of course around the North Pole, and it's pretty regulated how you can get there and how you behave there. So having said that, the place we go to is what we call the area of inset, that is the Antarctic Peninsula. It juts out like a thumb into the Drake's Passage just south of Chile and Argentina, and that is the most ice-free part of the Antarctic continent. The rest of the continent is really covered thickly by glaciers. It is the biggest ice mass in the world, even bigger than Greenland. And because the peninsula is ice-free, that's where most of the wildlife is. And also, because it juts out so close to Chile, Argentina, that's the closest part to travel from Argentina and Chile, and that's what we are doing. Now, when I say closest part, the distances here are enormous. So what we wanted to do was basically to give you a very special wildlife encounter, very different from what most other companies offer. So today you will not hear about me telling you about another big cruise ship, and there are several cruise ships coming down here every year that brings thousands of visitors down. Now, what I'm going to tell you about is a new concept which is based on a very small sailboat which brings us down to Antarctica and back again, or we just cruise around in the Antarctic Peninsula waters and fly down to the Antarctic Peninsula. So the concept is basically we want you to get a intimate experience, and that you can do if you have a small boat, a safe boat, and you are only 7 clients, not the big groups of hundreds of people. In fact, now they even have cruise ships that take 2,000 people down to Antarctica on a cruise ship. Well, it's kind of ironic because if you're 2,000 people on a cruise ship, you in fact only have permits to go ashore 100 people at a time. That means that some people never get to actually step on the Antarctic Peninsula, but see only the wildlife on a big TV screen and monitor from the ship. So what we want to do is to give you this intimate experience in a small group. We also want to, because we are a small group, and because this whole thing is set up, we want you to have efficient adventure and natural history exploration time. When you have a limited vacation, you know, when you are out and not people or have complicated itineraries, we think that this is really the most efficient way of seeing wildlife and experience the Antarctic. We also want to give you as much as possible to do. So what we have built in here are some active options. We have sailing, we have kayaking, we have hiking, we have that if you decide to do so in a safe and easy manner, that's all available to you. And the end result is that you have much better wildlife encounters, which is what natural habitat is all about. So let me tell you how we do that. Well, as I told you, we have to go from the southern tip of South America, Chile or Argentina, and we thought that it would be a good idea to have 2 different ways of doing it. That is, we fly one way and take the boat home, or we fly in and fly out. Some people actually like the option of sailing one way and flying home, or vice versa, so that you get the experience of the journey, that is to sail across the Drake's Passage and see how the habitat and the ocean and the wildlife changes as soon as you have left Cape Horn, and suddenly you come down, and after 3 or 4 days you come down to the Antarctic Peninsula. I've always said that, you know, if you want to see a place, you've got to feel how far away it is and how pristine it becomes. Now we realize that some people don't have the time to do that. So we have a third itinerary, that is where we fly in and fly out. So on the sail out and fly back option, we have 2 itineraries. in February 14th in 2016, and then one in 2017 in January. Then we have two fly-out sail-back itineraries in 2016 spring and in the winter of 2016-17. On top of that, and you can see all that on our website if you go in under our active Antarctica trip on our trip offerings, we also can offer you 3 fly-out, fly-back options. Again, who might not want one way, don't have that much time, and want to maximize wildlife encounters and not spend the time across the Drake's Passage. Although, again, I will say that the Drake's Passage at these months is a wonderful experience. But we want to give you as many options as possible, even how you get down to this wildlife mecca. So let me go over some of the levels of accommodations and kind of get a feel for what accommodations you have in Punta Arenas. That is, if you sail down, then you have to start in Punta Arenas in Chile. If you sail down, you have to start in Ushuaia in Argentina. Sail from Ushuaia and go down to a peninsula, sail up to Deception Island, and then fly back to Punta Arenas in Chile. So we have a hotel for you in Ushuaia and one hotel for you in Punta Arenas, and vice versa on the other types of itineraries. The hotel in Punta Arenas is what we think is the best one. It has fantastic food. It's a 4- or 5-star hotel with all the amenities that you are so used to for those who have traveled with natural habitat before. Similarly, in Ushuaia, whether you were there in the beginning of a trip or the end of the trip, we have found a lovely hotel, Hotel Alto Andino, which is a little bit uptown with a great view. You can see the view over there on the right side of the Beagle Channel. Here's another inside look of the Hotel Andino in Ushuaia. Now, for flying, and this is the magic to this solution, is that very recently a new type of, not a new type, but a new way of getting down there with these BAE 146 airplanes, jet flights, short takeoff and landing jet flights, have been able to land down in the Antarctic Peninsula. It is a relatively small jet, only 80 persons, and because of the inability to refuel in Antarctica, we have only 80 persons, and you can only take 20 kilo per person for luggage coming down. But the advantage here is it only takes 2 hours to go back and forth between Punta Arenas and King George Island in the South Shetland archipelago, just off the Antarctic Peninsula. I did it last year and it's very comfortable. The other vessel we are using, and this is the main experience, is of course our sailboat. And we chose a sailboat. I've been on many sailboats in Antarctica, and this is the one that I actually like the best. This is the sailing vessel Australis, which is a motor-powered sailing vessel, very comfortable, 70 feet long, and with a solid engine and can actually host 9 guests. So let me give you a little bit insight in the vessel that you're going to be sailing and exploring from in the Antarctic Peninsula. The cabin layout is right here on top of the slide, and it's all very modern and comfortable. We can have email and satellite on board, and we can we can make water. There's electricity for all your photo equipment, and go back to the boat. Large salon area, We can see in the aft of the boat there's a big dining table where we actually sit around a group table there and eat just in front of the kitchen there. And then we have you know, 4 cabins for the guests. The crew is not sleeping downstairs. The crew is sleeping by themselves upstairs. And one of the things you must realize here is that we have a shared bathroom. There's a sink in 3 of the double cabins, and then there's a shower and a sink that we have to share. We are only 7 clients and 1 expedition leader to share that. There's simply no space below for a separate bathroom in each. So in that sense, it is a little bit expedition style, but expedition style in great comfort. Let me show you some of the pictures from the boat. Again, it's 75 feet long, full on sail, and with that sailing capacity with the sail and the powerful engine enabled us to go pretty fast over the Drake's Passage. Maximum speed without sails is 9 knots, and we can even put sails up and motor at the same time and get up to 10 knots while journeying. Now, I will say something. We're saying this is a sailing trip. That means that we are on a sailboat, but it doesn't mean that we only sail. We use the engine a lot. And the reason we do that is that we want to get to the interesting wildlife places as fast as possible. The other reason is that if we sail at a slower rate, we cannot get you know, all the way down to Port Lockeray, which we want to do, and that's not good. So and remember also that we we cannot sail or motor at night. It is simply not safe when we're down in the Antarctic Peninsula to do that. So we only have these 16, 17 hours of sailing time because of the icebergs that are down there. It is a very safe vessel with safety rails all around, and it's really not one of those flush deck sailing around the world in sailing engines. It's a designed to be a comfortable passenger boat. One thing that we are very keen on is that there is no places you cannot go on the boat, except of course in the crew's bedrooms upstairs. But there's a complete open bridge policy, and it's really fun to be around the captain and the crew up there. And it's you know, the bridge is also a place where we can scout wildlife in a more out of the weather. It's a heated place, and that's where we communicate with other boats, other sailboats, and that's where we can talk to them by phone and email. A few pictures from downstairs. You see that the circular table in the back of the galley. That's where we sit around and have great food. Last time I was down there with this boat here, we spent some good times with fantastic menus, as we always do on natural habitat trips, and of course as much wine and beer as you want to have. It's not a place where we save money on beer or that you have to buy extra. We have all that stuff on board. Everything is included the moment you step on board, and it's all for your enjoyment. That's actually a big film crew that sits around the table there. But it gives a good feeling of being an expedition group together. In that room also, we have a DVD TV player, and if we have a night of interpretation, or if you want to see some Antarctic adventure movies or wildlife movies, we just put those on. So that's a great place to gather. On deck, when we get into safe harbor, it's good weather. Why not open the grill and have some of our delicious gourmet food? The barbecue is ready, and you can even, if you want to, you can have a hot shower on the stern deck. Inside we have 4 cabins for the guests, and in essence we have a total of 11 bunks for 7 guests and 1 expedition leader in 4 rooms. So there are all kinds of combinations for how you can sleep together. Couples can sleep in doubles, and if there's many singles that sign up, then we just have to pick straws of who's going to be on top and who's going to be at the bottom. If we have all singles, that is, if we have 7 singles, then we might have to, that's the only place where we have to put a separation board in a double bed so that you don't roll into each other. But it's very unlikely that that's going to happen. We have never had a trip with only 7 single occupancy people. One thing, if you are up for it, we can put you in a boatsman's chair and hold you up the mast, and photographers love to do that. It's safe to do, and take pictures from above our boat. But I put this picture in here just to show you what the layout is on the deck. You can see there's like a sitting area right there below the mast where people can stand up and take pictures being outside and cozy up. And you can even go on top of the captain's bridge building and get even higher. That's where this guy with the blue hat is sitting, and spot whales and wildlife from there. The most important part of any trip, any sailing trip, any expedition trip, in my mind, is of course the people in the group. That is the staff and also the people that sign up for the group. But we have always been very lucky that people are signing up for these. They guys go with the same objectives, and it's the people who make this trip. The number one is skipper Ben Wallis. He's a relatively young guy. He just got his first child last year. He is mid-30s, and as you can see from his experience, this guy has done everything that there is to do in a sailboat, and particularly in cold polar waters. Innumerable voyages to Antarctica, Greenland, and South Georgia, and also some amazing things in the Pacific, in New Zealand, and so forth. So you are in extremely good hands. With him, we have 2 crew members, and that's Sky, and look at her resume. Also a deckhand, second command with a lot of experience. He even has been to the Russia, Far East, and Tahiti as well. And finally, Magnus, whom I also sailed with, he now actually has the captain's license also. He was basically born on the boat in the Pacific, and is just a good-natured guy who can fix everything, who can cook a lot, and always in a good mood, even when the weather gets a little rough. And then there's our expedition leader, and I cannot tell you who's going to be that, but so far we've had the expedition leader being who's a very experienced wildlife biologist and a fantastic, one of our best leaders at Natural Habitat. So we decided to only put our best leader here on this trip. So basically, if we have a full boat from a client perspective, we will have 4 staff to 7 clients. That is amazing service. One of the questions that often comes up, and I want to be very serious about this, that is to tell you that this trip is not a physically demanding trip. This is not a hardcore expedition where you only can come if you are a hardcore kayaker, camper, hiker, whatever. What we want you to do is to come healthy, because you'll get more out of your experience there, but also have a spirit of adventure. Because what we want to do with this trip in order to optimize the wildlife experience is to have a flexible itinerary. So let's say that we have to suddenly get up very early in the morning, and because we know that there's a bunch of parts of whales that have been seen over in certain places, then we get everybody up and we start motoring and get you on deck quickly. So basically you can see the best wildlife. I call it grab the opportunity, grab the day, carpe diem. So it is not a trip where everything goes as a clockwork. This is all focused on the immediate wildlife experience. We also want to get you off the boat, of course, and for that we have many options to offer you. We want to get off the boat because we want to be close on land and at sea to the wildlife. So what we have on board is kayaks, and that's optional kayaking trips in protected waters. You don't have to be a kayak specialist. You can be a novice because we have very stable kayaks, and there will always be a Zodiac following our little part of kayaks when we go out. So if you don't want to paddle anymore, you just radio back to the Zodiac and hop in there, and we'll take you out of the kayaks. The kayaks are very stable folding kayaks that we use for most of our expeditions in Greenland and Antarctica. These are feathercraft folding kayaks, high quality, and you're very, very comfortable to sit in. Also, the hiking is optional. We don't want these hikes to be big challenges, and we will basically feel out the group of who wants to do what, and if you want to do a little just walking around, taking pictures of animals, we will design hikes like that. If we have more of a group who wants to go further, then we do that. The key is we focus on nature. Finally, we have found that it could be fun, perhaps, for you to camp. So we are giving you a camping option. And based on the trips we have done so far, people would like to opt out for 1 or 2 nights camping. And the reason is that you are away from the boat, and you have lots of time for photography on land. And the sunsets and the sunrises on land, sitting on a beach, and just take your time with the wildlife is really fantastic. It is this feeling of hearing the quiet wind and the sound of the penguins just on the other side of the tent. So we have actually put a lot of effort into getting permits to camp many places. Not that we're going to camp many places, but because we have a flexible itinerary, we would like to have options to camp different places. The flexible itinerary is demanded or is required because of the weather and because of the ice. And it's also required, as I said, because we want to chase the good wildlife. So we have optional camping as well. So I'll show you some of these, some slides from some of the activities, and of course some of the wildlife that we will see. But again, this is not a trip. This is physically demanding. This is a wildlife trip, and if you want to do something more active, we're here for you. Focus on the adventure. You know, we want this to be a private small group experience and have an eye-level experience of incredible landscapes and seascapes. So this is not being a long, big group stepping ashore, waiting for a lot of people coming off the ships in Zodiac after Zodiac after Zodiac. No, this is taking our own little Zodiac, getting ashore, and suddenly we stand there as a little group of human penguins and feel the awe and the largeness of Antarctica. It sure is a very different way to do Antarctica, and I think that is the way to do it. The sailing across the Drake's Passage, I cannot tell you that it's going to be smooth sailing all the way. There is a chance that we're going to have some swells and some waves, and we provide you with a lot of advice of how to prepare for potential seasickness and how to deal with it when you are on board. But of course, we will, before we cross the Drake's Passage, we will listen to the weather systems, we will listen to the weather forecast, and because we have the flexibility, we will not just sail crazy into the eye of the storm, but wait it out on both sides when we sail from either Antarctic Peninsula or from the South American tip. Then we of course sail down in Antarctica, and it's going to be slow when we motor and sail around icebergs. But there's just so much to see and so much to photograph. As soon as you get down to the peninsula, we will be on the leeward side of the outer islands there, and the possibilities for big swells and storms are very small once we are in the archipelago, and you will mostly get days like you see here. Of course, we'll also have overcast days and breezy days, and maybe a little sleet here and there. But last time I was there, I was very lucky, and we had wonderful days. But look at the ship here in the dwarfed by penguin colonies and glaciers. It is just astounding. I would say that if you are a wildlife naturalist enthusiast, there are basically 3 places in the world you have to see. It's on the must list. One is the Antarctic Peninsula and South Georgia waters. The other one is Galapagos, and the third one is some of the big wilderness spots in Africa, let it be Botswana or the Serengeti. Of course, we take everybody there at Natural Habitat, but those 3, if you have a short list, you must not miss this great Antarctic experience. We have now sailed there so much, and our crew is so experienced that they know all the good places to anchor, and you can imagine a big cruise ship anchoring right here. That's impossible. So because of our size of the boat, we are very nimble and can find really amazing places to anchor in case we get inclement weather and water. But the boat is a great platform for watching wildlife in the ocean. This picture is taken in Paradise Bay, and you can see the plume of a whale off to the starboard side there, and people are on deck in the late evening light photographing wildlife. And one might ask, well, do the whales come close to the sailboat? Because it's nice to really feel the whale in big proximity, and the answer is yes. Here you don't need a telelens on your camera. It's right there, and you can smell the fishy exhaust smell from the whales coming so close to the boat. That would not happen on a big cruise ship. Now this is getting extremely close, and of course we turn off the engine and let the whales spy hop as they want, and not getting in their way and basically steam into them. This is a quiet magic moment on the Antarctic Peninsula. Another shot trying to reach it. I took this picture of the bow of the boat going through the Beagle Channel. Not bad. It's right. I'm just leaning forward to take a picture of the dolphins playing on the bowsprit. Again, the boat is basically a great platform for animal viewing, and we are not far away from penguins. You can see the Zodiac in the back on top of the bridge. That's the big Zodiac, and we also have another reserve Zodiac in case we need that. So the hiking, land exploring is key, and we have no set hiking itineraries. We go ashore and look at all the wonderful wildlife as much as we want, while our naturalists are telling great stories and giving you information of the wonders you see around you. And of course, we don't have to be back at a set dinner time in front of the buffet on the big cruise ship. No, we can just go ashore at sunset and take the pictures of the icebergs. This hike is a picture from last time I was there. A big penguin colony at Deception Island, which is a wonderful playful whaling station with a lot of history. And this group was particularly active, and they started at the bottom there, on the bottom glacier, close to the beach, and followed the penguin tracks up to the ridge, and the other picture is from that ridge, overlooking the Drake's Passage. That's a great picture of a 74-year-old lady who got so excited about going down on her bum down one of the hills in the bay where we anchored. Great place to play around. Zodiacking, again, one zodiac with our small group of people. We use the zodiac to getting ashore, but let's say we suddenly see some whales in a pond not too far away. Off we go and do our zodiac trips. This is a big zodiac with a lot of space. Here we actually got a picture from our small zodiac, and I mean, do you want to get close to wildlife? This is it. Then we offer the kayaking options, and again we do it in small protected bays just for you to get out, and maybe some of you want to get some exercise, maybe some of you want to have some fun, and we will certainly teach you the tricks of paddling if you want to. So, but look at this, how close you can get, and I'm sure this penguin has never seen a kayak like this. Another penguin and a kayak shot. Now this is not the kind of kayaks we use. I just put this picture in to let you see what you can experience in our even more stable kayaks. And then, as I talked about, the camping option, we have worked very hard to get those camping permits from the National Science Foundation, the EPA, and the U.S. State Department. And we have those permits because we have followed all the rules, we have delivered the right reports, and we do it the right way for years. So they give us those because we do it the right way. And again, camping is a great opportunity to get close to wildlife and actually be able to sleep on the continent. These tents are top-notch tents. We provide warm sleeping bags and pads, and give you a thermos full of hot stuff to drink. So nobody is cold. It looks cold because of all the white stuff, but actually it's very warm in those tents. And hey, give it a try. And out your front door, you have some guests kind of going in and out of the ocean. I remember once I camped in Antarctica, and all these penguins came out of the water, and I had unfortunately set up the tent right in the pathway of where all the small penguins had to go up to feed their chicks. And I quickly found out that the way to do it is to open both doors because otherwise they bump into the tent. So they go right through the tent and in one door and out the other if you're not careful of where you set up your little tent. And of course we will help you set all that up, and it's just fun to do. But the main reason for being in Antarctica is, of course, to enjoy the amazing wildlife. Big parts of Jinju penguins, some of them with chicks, just sitting there looking at them. And of course, you are not allowed to touch them. But we had an experience some years ago where a 16-year-old girl at Hannah Point sat there and watched the penguins. And then one of them came up to her and hopped in her lap. It was her 16th birthday. What a present. Daily penguins on the run, or just walking as a little group, going somewhere but nowhere. Here they're going, here's chinstrap penguins on the Antarctic Peninsula across from Anvers Island in their fine tuxedos. Chinstrap penguin with two pretty big chicks, and a gentle wondering and scratching his face. What to do next? Then of course we have the mammals. We have fur seals like this. again in the close to the Lemaire Channel with the Anvers Island across the other side. We have elephant seals. This guy did not wipe his mouth properly, but those you can get extremely close to because they're so clumsy on land and very fast on shore, and if you're lucky we can even see them fight. The males, the big males, fight on land. It's a spectacular sight. Riddell seals, sea lions, and fur seals. Aren't they cute? One seal is a leopard seal. And of course we are pretty careful about those because they have some nasty teeth and can be pretty aggressive when you're in the water, which we of course are careful about, and that is why we have zodiacs around when we kayak or when we move as a group into the from ship to shore. Fin whales in Paradise Bay, this is taken with a normal lens from a kayak. Killer whales, those we see all over, and of course they are unbelievably active and are hunting sea lions. So if you're a photography buff, we can take you to amazing sceneries and for you to have time to do the photography that you need to do and get your SIM cards filled up appropriately. Just look at this. This is a picture of the ice cap on the Antarctic Peninsula proper. A campsite on Anvers Island at sunset. So lots to do, and let me just give you the numbers. So again, we have 4 departures in 2016 and 3 in 2017. We have people sign up on all our departures in 2016, and just call our office and see if there's any space available and on which ones and on which kind of trip you'd like to do, what fits you best time-wise, and that could be sail fly options or fly options. So the duration of those trips are between 12 and 17 days. Of course, the sailing option is longer and the fly is shorter. So the two trips basically have the same days in Antarctica proper, where the wildlife happens. The cost you see is between $22,000 and $25,000 per client, and given that we are all the things we are doing and the amazing experience it is, it's not cheap, but it certainly is worth every penny. Again, maximum 7 packs, and staff ratio is 4 to 7. So there you have it. I want to thank some of my co-travelers in the Antarctic throughout the years, including Jonathan Chester and Greg and Kerry, who sailed another boat some years for us. Ben Wallis, the captain of the boat right now. One client, David Bell, our guide, John Mitten, and I took some as well. But I'm sure you will come back with other slides that are just as spectacular as the ones I showed you. So I thank you for my seat on my kayak, and I hope that that this has excited you, and that you will be one of the few that gets one of the biggest wildlife experiences in the natural habitat in one of the most amazing places on Earth. Thank you very much. And I just leave this slide up a little bit in order for you to see how you can contact us and chat with our travel specialist. And they are very knowledgeable, and they will, if there's any questions that they can't answer, then please feel free to send us emails or talk to them, and expedition leaders and people like me, we will be on call and on email to get you set up as well as possible. Thank you very much for your attention. Goodbye.
And my thanks as well. And with that, we will say good day and conclude our webinar. Goodbye, everybody.